Here's a lottery you cannot lose. Imagine a kind of lottery in which players can win up to $10,000, but it's impossible for them to lose a dime. Such lotteries are now being offered by 58 U.S. credit unions in 4 states. Pending federal legislation would allow banks, too, to offer them. The object of these lotteries isn't to encourage risk, but to promote saving. Called Save to Win accounts, they work like this. To become eligible to play, a consumer deposits $25 into his or her credit union saving account. For every additional $25 deposited, up to 10 deposits a month, he earns a raffle ticket, which qualifies him for a monthly prize drawing and for a grand prize drawing, if the account remains active for a year. The monthly prizes range from $50 to $100. The grand prize, $10,000. Losers don't lose. They just fail to win. They keep all the money they've deposited, plus interest, in the form of a CD. The prizes are paid for by the credit unions and their associations as a savings incentive. Sharon Hall, CEO of Expressive Credit Union in Washington State, has offered the accounts since 2010. My credit union serves low-income customers, she tells ABC News. We saw a benefit to offering an incentive win component. So far, she says, feedback from her customers has been 100% positive. I don't know of a member who doesn't like it or hasn't responded well. Winners, she says, take the money and reinvest it in hopes of winning a bigger prize. Save to Win was developed in 2008 by the Michigan Credit Union, the collaboration with the Filling Research Institute and the Doorway to Dreams D2D Fund, which promotes financial opportunity for low and moderate income consumers. The number of accounts has grown from 11,700 in Michigan in 2009 to close to 17,000 now in 8 states. The number of participating credit unions has grown from 8 to 68, and the amount of money saved per year has increased from $8.6 million, an average of $724 per person, to $45.6 million, an average of $3,000. In all, depositors have saved more than $70 million since the inception of the program that might not have been saved otherwise. The program is aimed at low-income people who have had trouble saving or have never saved before. Such savers, says Melissa Kearney, an economist at the University of Maryland who has studied lottery-based accounts, told the PBS NewsHour. Her research found the account's game of chance aspect leverage low-income depositors' desire to win big. If Washington State Representative Derek Kilmer gets his way, Save to Win accounts will become available not just from credit unions, but from banks, which for now are forbidden to offer them. Due to outdated federal regulations, banks and federally Chartered financial institutions are unable to offer price-linked saving accounts, says Kilmer. His American Saving Promotion Act would remove that regulatory barrier. Today, most Americans aren't saving enough, says Kilmer. This bill will encourage folks to save by creating a chance to win a prize with each deposit. The best that can happen is you reap a windfall. The worst that can happen is you've saved money. Doesn't Kilmer's bill risk creating nation of compulsive savers? Says the congressman. Indiana couple loses 190 pounds together. Nearly 3 years ago, Amanda Flick, tired of a lifetime of being overweight, decided to lose those extra pounds for good and hired a personal trainer to help her. Today, Flick, 31, is 100 pounds slimmer and a personal trainer herself, working right alongside the same trainer who kick-started her life-changing weight loss. Flick of Kokomo and in turn helped change the life of her husband, Keith, 33, who, inspired both by his wife and a shirt he desperately wanted that didn't fit, dropped 90 pounds on his own. We stopped going out to eat, started cooking healthy meals, and every calorie we counted. Amanda Flick, who once weighed 223 pounds, told GoodMorningAmerica.com today. We used to order pizza every Sunday and eat an entire pizza, she said. We don't do that anymore. Flick was first inspired to lose weight by a friend who was running 5K races and posting photos on Facebook. In January 2010, Flick set a New Year's resolution to get active herself and began working out to Jillian Michaels DVDs and on elliptical. Once she started running, Flick lost weight quickly, but then was sidelined by a knee injury that resulted in her gaining back 15 pounds of the 50 pounds she had lost. I hired a personal trainer and he helped me get my knee better and got me running again, she said. Working out is a hobby now. Keith, a student who also works at the restaurant, helps by cooking the couple's dinner every night, always with fresh and healthy ingredients. In turn, Flick helps train her husband, often using CrossFit's workout of the day, posted on the company's website as inspiration. We both have more energy now and want to do something instead of sleeping all day, because that's what we would do, she said. Now I'm at the gym at 5 a.m. Flick, who also works as a massage therapist, says she has 2 tips for people who want to change their lives. First, if you mess up, and you will, start again at the next meal and don't wait another week or for the next milestone, Flick said. Second, don't put a time frame on it. Take it day by day. Exercise during pregnancy can boost your baby's brain. For women who are pregnant, as little as 20 minutes of exercise 3 times per week can advance a newborn's brain activity, according to a new study. Researchers at the University of Montreal presented these findings at the Neuroscience 2013 conference in San Diego on Sunday, providing moms-to-be with even more reasons to make exercise a priority. In their study, The researchers randomly assigned 60 women to two groups: women who were provided with an exercise regimen and those who were not. The women kept daily logs of exercise, and pedometers and accelerometers allowed researchers to keep track of the women's level of activity. Once the babies were born, the researchers recorded their brain activity levels at 8 to 12 days of life. They found that the babies of mothers who exercised had brains that were more fully developed. Current recommendations by American College of Obstetrics and Gynecologists urge moderate exercise, about 30 minutes almost daily during pregnancy. The guidelines are based on findings that moderate exercise can improve backaches, prevent pregnancy-associated diabetes, and improve sleep. This paper is the first of its kind to study the impact of exercise on the newborn, said study researcher Elise Labonte-Lemonnier of the University of Montreal. We measure directly the brain activity, Labonte-Lemonnier said. So it's not a behavioral test or neuropsychologic test. It's really specifically the brain that we were looking at. She added that the measurement of electrical brain activity is the most indicative way to measure a newborn's cognitive status. Women's health experts not involved with the research said it provides yet another important reason for pregnant women to stay active. We know that aerobic exercise has an immediate result of increasing mitochondrial activity in the brain, but this study shows that this effect may, in fact, cross the placenta and benefit the fetal brain as well, said ABC News senior medical contributor Dr. Jennifer Ashton, who is also a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist. More studies with larger numbers are needed, and we also need to follow these fetuses through early life to see if these effects result in higher aptitude or accelerated development down the road. This is yet another study showing the importance of staying active in pregnancy, said ABC News medical contributor Dr. Jacques Moritz, a board-certified OB-GYN at St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital in New York. And now another reason to exercise would be possibly to even make your baby smarter. Doctors take. In decades past, the conventional wisdom has been that resting during pregnancy was important for the baby's safety. This, unfortunately, is a misconception that is occasionally still seen today. Now, however, we know that regular exercise can be beneficial to women's health in various ways, including improvements in mood and energy during pregnancy. With this new study, there is even stronger incentive to exercise for your baby's health too. Before engaging in strenuous physical activity during pregnancy, or if you have a complicated pregnancy, talk to your doctor first. but setting daily goals for 30 minutes of exercise is an important and great start to your pregnancy and the best cures for workplace stress. Forget misfit teenagers or a rocky romantic life. The responsibilities of work are filling up the majority of space in the stress vacuum. That's according to a 2013 Consumer Health Mindset report by Aon Hewitt, a retirement and health solutions company. Of the 2,800 employees and their dependents surveyed, 4 of the top 5 reasons for stress were work-related. Financial situation, 46%. Work changes, 37%. Work schedule, 34%. Work relationships, 32%. And influence and control over how the employee did work, 32%. Stress has both emotional and physical consequences. According to Bob Rosen, psychologist and CEO and chairman of the consulting firm Healthy Companies International, stress is a condition we experience when our minds and bodies respond to changing conditions. He wrote in an email, "Too much stress creates excessive fear and anxiety, conflict and defensiveness, feelings of overwhelm and burnout, and chronic inflammation in the body. If you're already in a demanding job, laboring under such conditions can only make it much harder. Below are some issues you may face as well as steps you can take to alleviate some of your workplace stress. Others feel you wrath. If you're bogged down in heaps of work each day, you may show little restraint in voicing your frustrations with colleagues, while the tongue-lashing of your boss and colleagues may provide some momentary relief. It can create a hostile and distrustful work environment. This can affect relationships with coworkers, in that we can snap at them more often, be more short-tempered, relate to them in a less positive way, which can create more stress not just for us and them, but that can permit the workplace, says Elizabeth Scott, a stress expert for About.com and author of 8 Keys to Stress Management. Cure: Blow off steam by exercising. Let your frustrations boil out during your lunch workout in a company gym. If your workplace doesn't have a gym, walking up and down the office stairs or around nearby park for 15 minutes are great substitutes. Those who exercise regularly are less reactive to stress when they experience it, Scott says, adding that doing so unleashes an influx of endorphins and makes you more resilient to stress. Focusing is a struggle. Between fretting about your low salary and high demands of your boss, your body may be overwhelmed by the emotional toll and release cortisol, a hormone unleashed as a result of stress. Scott explains that this can inhibit logical reasoning, reaction time, and other areas of cognitive functioning. Cure: Meditate. Give your brain a break from the multitasking nature of your job by stepping away from your desk and finding a private area for a few minutes of meditation. According to Rosen, meditation is one of the most effective ways to relieve stress. It forces us to stop, sit quietly within ourselves, identify the sources of our excessive stress, and focuses us on calming ourselves down, living in the moment, not hijacked by the past or worrying about the future, he says. There is also evidence that the practice can benefit your brain. In 2011, a team of Harvard affiliated researchers at Massachusetts General Hospital conducted an 8-week mindfulness meditation program, meditating for 27 minutes each day. The 16 participants showed measurable changes in parts of the brain associated with memory, sense of self, empathy, and stress. Lunchtime means a fast food trip. Along with altering your ability to think, the release of cortisol can also make you crave calorie-rich, sugary foods. When we're stressed, we may not take care of our bodies nutritionally as well, Scott says. We tend to crave sugary foods, junk foods, and things that will affect how sharp we're thinking. Cure. Commit to a healthier diet. Come lunchtime, you may crave a meal loaded with calories if you're feeling frazzled. But making a conscious effort to cut down on unhealthy eating when stressed, and then actively engaging in healthier stress relief habits can help break the cycle, Scott says. She recommends reducing portions, snacking on nutritious options such as peanut butter and sliced apples, and resolving to eat only healthy food and only when hungry. Sleep has become a chore. You may be spending your nights tossing and turning at the thought of what awaits you at the office the following day. As a result of the lack of sleep, your cognitive abilities aren't as sharp. Having fewer hours of rest can have an adverse effect on your memory and capacity of learn, Scott notes. Cure. Get more rest. On average, Americans sleep for 6 hours and 51 minutes on workdays. According to a National Sleep Foundation poll this year, while the amount of sleep needed can differ from person to person, Scott recommends getting 7 to 8 hours for the best work performance. We're less reactive to stress when we're rested, she says, adding that being well rested leads to greater energy and sharper thinking, which is critical for solving the more complex issues of your job. You feel burned out. If work stress is a constant part of your life, a more serious condition like burnout could be on the horizon. According to Brian Robinson, a North Carolina-based psychotherapist and author of The Smart Guide to Managing Stress, burnout can lead to feelings of despair and depression and leave your sense of meaning and purpose compromised. Cure. Seek professional help. Consider seeing a therapist if you're at the tipping point both physically and mentally, and trying to tackle your stress on your own seems overwhelming. Some whose personality or upbringing is more vulnerable to stress because they don't see themselves as empowered, They need more psychological help so they can start to understand how they can become more stress resilient. Strangest travel headlines and the truth behind the stories. I have great respect for headline writers. Day in, day out, they come up with can't look away bombshells like the New York Post legendary "Headless Body in Topless Bar." Unfortunately, most headlines are not nearly as exciting as the murderous banner Millie Musetto created back in 1983, but there are still plenty of intriguing ones even in the travel world. Sure, some of the headlines can be a little misleading and sometimes they give you only part of the story. So as public service, I've strung together some recent favorites along with the facts behind the headlines. Thus, some laughs, maybe, and some travel tips that may save you a little money. Headline: Kangaroo checks in at the airport. Sounds like the start of a bad joke. A kangaroo walks into an airport. The airport in question was in Australia, of course, where a wayward Roo managed to hop his way into a shop in the terminal. He was eventually escorted out. You might be surprised to hear animals also turn up at US airports with some regularity. Creatures ranging from alligators to coyotes have been seen roaming runways, although birds hitting planes are far more common. Tip: Bird strikes can mean big flight delays. The trick for passengers is getting on the next available plane, and this calls for disciplined multitasking including: First, try to be first in line to talk to a gate agent. 2. Get on the phone to the airline, in case that's faster. And 3. Explain your predicament to the airline via tweets, which may be fastest of all. Try all 3 at the same time if you can manage it. Headline: Cheers Airline strive to select perfect wines. Sounds like a great idea, though don't overdo it or you might be seeing pink kangaroos. The real story behind the headline is that most of these wines are headed to first and business class. If you're in economy, you'll pay, but your wine may not be perfect. As a consultant in the story said, the quality of wine improves the higher you go up in class. Tip: First class may be within reach for more of us this fall, thanks to Delta. It has some very nice prices for the best seats that compare favorably to premium economy. Couple of good chats on these. They're good on midweek flights only, between New York City and legacy carrier hubs, plus other large cities, but no West Coast destinations. And most of the planes used on these routes are older, regional jets, but if you can enjoy free wine in a legroom friendly, first class seat that you paid less for, who cares? Headline: Airlines inch closer to the final fee frontier, carry-on bags. Carry-on fees are not some futuristic concept. The final frontier was breached long before Capt. Kirk ever thought of charging the Enterprise crew for luggage. Spirit was first to boldly go where no airline had gone, adding a carry-on fee in 2010. Actually, it was only first in this country. Low-cost low-cost airlines in Europe started the chain, but US discounters quickly caught on, with Allegiant following Spirit, and Frontier joining in earlier this year, but only for certain customers. So far, the legacy carriers have resisted, but can they hold out much longer? Passenger rights groups might want to stick William Shatner's other alter ego on them. Maybe the negotiator can keep the carriers in mind. Tip: if you fly an airline that charges a carry-on fee, consider checking your bag, because it might well be cheaper. If you do decide to use a carry-on, pay the fee at the earliest opportunity since the price goes up the longer you delay. If you wait until getting to the gate to pay, Spirit will charge you a cool $100. And this is the end